Thank you so much for joining this video. In this video, we are going to see the microservice architecture. So in the previous videos, we have seen how to create different components like Cosmos DB, Azure Service Bus, and other resources by using PowerShell and by using browser. And we also saw how to connect these components by using console applications or Azure functions in the C Sharp. So in coming few videos, I'm going to summarize the microservice pattern. So where we are going to develop different small independent applications or components, and then we will see how to execute them by locally, and then we will deploy them into the Azure. And finally, we'll integrate a whole system, a complete system. So I hope the video will be more useful and more like real-time scenario. So if you are using Azure, the microservice pattern is a common architecture you will use. I hope you enjoy this video. So before going further, like what is microservice architecture? So in simple words, microservice architecture is nothing but a group of independent, loosely coupled applications. So in the traditional way, there was a uh, um, dependency between the applications or between the layers we developed. But the modern era, like all the applications are loosely coupled and independent. So microservice architecture is a modern software design pattern that structures an application as collection of small, independent, loosely coupled services, each handling a specific business function, communicating via lightweight APIs like the REST and HTTP APIs. This approach contrasts with the traditional monoliths, allowing individual services to be developed, deployed, scaled, and updated automatically, enhancing agility, resilience, and technology flexibility, but it adds complexity in management and distributed system coordination. So the advantage of developing independent loosely coupled applications, like you can scale up and scale down based on your requirements independently. You can reuse them for multiple applications. So and if there is a problem with one component, only that component will be down, but rest of the applications will work. And as a whole, the performance will be uh, like improved if you are using a microservice architecture. So what we are going to see. So as part of this microservice pattern in the Azure, I'm going to develop uh, different components. So here you can see the snippet for each component. So we are going to develop a UI request. So where a UI will be developed to see all the requests, and you can submit a request, new request, and then there will be an API. So that will listen to this. There will be a API we develop, so which will create an item into the Cosmos. So when there is a request, it will validate the request. Then it will create an item into the Cosmos DB. Here we are not going to see, but it's an optional. So after creating a request into Cosmos DB, you can also submit a message to the service bus, but we are not going to see. So a UI request page will be there, and an API which will validate the request and creates a request item in the Cosmos DB. So then we develop an API UI for approval, where you can see all the requests and you can click on approve. Once the UI sent the approval request, a API will be there. So in the API, we will get the request ID. So the API will retrieve the item from the Cosmos DB based on the request ID, provided request ID, and then it will prepare the object and it submits a service bus message. We are using the microservice pattern. So the API will only responsible for retrieving the item from the Cosmos, and then it submits a service bus message, and then there will be a function component where the function will peek message from the service bus, and then it will complete the request. Suppose if you are requesting for a new resource group, or if you are requesting for a new service bus, then it will retrieve the message from the service bus topic, and it will validate the message, all the components, and then it will complete. So if it is creating a resource group, the function is going to create a resource group. If it is creating a service bus, the function is going to create a service bus. If it is like approving all the receipts or payments, so the function is going to validate all the payment information, and then it's going to update or approve the payments. And finally, it's going to upset the Cosmos DB for the request. So this is my API. So these are the services I developed. So there will be a Cosmos service. So this Cosmos service is responsible for adding an item um, and retrieving items asynchronously. So here I'm using the query. So this will retrieve all the approved items, and this will retrieve all the this will retrieve a item from the Cosmos DB based on the request ID submitted, and this will retrieve all the items with the request status as a request. So this Cosmos DB basically it's going to retrieve all the items based on the status, or it's going to retrieve a specific item, or it's going to create a Cosmos DB item based on the request model. Then I created a topic service. So this topic service is responsible for dealing with uh, Azure bus service bus topic. So as of now, it has only one method, and in the next videos, I'm going to add a couple of other methods. So this method is going to send message asynchronously. So based on the request object, it's going to send the request object directly. So these are the services. And finally, I have a request service. So this request service add multiple methods. So this approve request is going to be used by approve request controller, and create request is going to used by create request controller, and get approve get requests asynchronously, and retrieve item asynchronously. So this method is going to retrieve a item by using the ID provided. And this request service internally using iCosmos and topic services, which I explained earlier. Let's see the controllers. So these two are the controllers. So request controller, which has two methods. One is get requests, get all the requests, and this is going to create a new request. And another controller, approve request. So it's going to approve a request based on the ID. So if you want to request, if you want to approve a request 1, 2, 3, you have to pass the 1, 2, 3, and this method is going to approve the request. And this is going to get all the requests, get all the approved requests, and this is going to retrieve a specific request based on the ID. We have only one model, which is request model, where I created ID, request ID, name, description, type. So the type will be whether it's a resource group or it's a service bus. Status, request, approve. Those are the two status. Requested by, request date, approved by. So initially it will be empty, and approved date. And in Azure, I have a Cosmos DB request container where you can see a sample request document. And I have a service bus topic, so where it's ready to take messages from the API. So let's see the dependency injection, what we have done in the program.cs. So in the app settings.json, I have two sections, one for Cosmos details and another for the topic details. So in the Cosmos details, I have the endpoint URI, the tenant ID, the Cosmos client ID, the client secret, the database name and container name. So if you want the details, in the previous videos, I have shown how to create these component, the client secret and Cosmos client in detail. You can go through that. So, but here I'm going to use these configurations, and I'm going to create a client secret credentials based on the tenant ID and the Cosmos client ID configured here. And then I'm going to create the Cosmos client object. And here I'm going to inject this Cosmos client and the container objects. So internally, these two are they have been used in the service class. So the iCosmos service, the Cosmos service is using the Cosmos client and container services. So in order to inject this, I have to inject these two services initially. Then for topics, I have the topic detail and the topic name. So first I injected the service bus client. Then I injected the service bus sender. So these two are being used in the topic service class. So I have to inject these services before injecting this the topic service. And finally, I'm injecting the request service. So the request service is using topic service and Cosmos service. So uh, in order to make it work, the request service, I have to inject all these services. So let's see the request controller. I have a HTTP post method. This get method is going to retrieve all the requests from the container, the Cosmos container, and it's going to create a new request. So let's see what is this method is doing. Okay, so we are passing the model, request model, and the Cosmos method add request asynchronously is going to create a new item in the Cosmos. So it's going to upset an item. So based on the request model, the item will be the complete request model, and the partition key is the request ID, which will be having in the request model. So this method is going to create a new item into the request container. Let's see and execute and see. So this is going to be my API post request body. So I gave a unique ID, a unique request ID, the name or name of the resource group test RG1, description request for test RG1, and type of request it's RG. Status by default, when you are creating a request, it's request, and when you approve it, it's approve. Requested by DTRG, request date, and requested by approved by its none, and approver date. Let's execute and see. It's hitting request service here. So there are a lot of breakpoints. Yeah, it came to the request controller, and here I have put some breakpoints here. Create. So it came to the request, create request. So again, it's going to the Cosmos DB container. It's going to upset the item, create the item. Yes, it's true. So let's see whether the item created or not. So yes, see, you can see RG test RG1. Yes, the item got created. It added some the from here to here. We provided from the Swagger, and these are the system created tags. So let's add a couple of more items. It's true. Let's see in the Cosmos. You can see 2 items. Let's add one more item. Let's add one more request. Yep. There are 3 requests added successfully. Okay, let's see other endpoint for request controller, which is getting requests asynchronously. So it will get all the requests based on the status type. So it's going to call the method and see here, select star from C, the container where status equal to the request. So this feed iterator, it's going to point to your, it's going to execute the query on the container and point to the output. And while the output has any results, so it's going to pull all the like list of documents. So suppose this document, this query is retrieving 3 items. You can see the request will have 3 count because it's only retrieving 3 items. And now I'm going to do a for each loop. So each time a document will be added to the list of requests, and you're going to see the list of requests into the output. You can see the first document, second document, and third document. So now see the approver API. So this get approve API is going to retrieve all the items. So here it's internally calling the get approve asynchronously method. And this get approve asynchronously method is going to retrieve the items. So this API, the get API approve is going to retrieve again the requests only because I want to see all the open requests. So now you can see this method is calling the same retrieve request asynchronously. So based on the request type, it's going to retrieve that these are the 3 requests which are pending. So the type is status request. The type of the status type is request. So this API endpoint is going to retrieve all the requests which need to get approved. Now I am very much interested about this endpoint. So this endpoint, it's approve API, which is going to take only the request ID. Then it's going to call this endpoint. Let's see the approve endpoint. Yeah, though we are just passing the request ID, and the request ID is being passed to the approve request method. So it's going to call the retrieve item asynchronously of the Cosmos service by passing this ID. So this specific statement is going to retrieve the entire document from the Cosmos DB for the details. And then it's passing the same object, the same document to the send message asynchronously method of the topic service. So this method is going to prepare a service bus message and it's going to send message into the service bus. So now let's see, I don't have any messages in my service bus. I have here 3 documents. So I'm going to capture this request ID and I'll go to my API and I'll provide this request ID and I'll execute. So when I hit this execute button, it's going to hit the API, and the request ID is being passed here, and it's calling the approve request method of the service. And this Cosmos retrieve item asynchronously is going to retrieve the document from the container. Um, and you can see the request document. It's exactly same from the database. So request for test RGID, DT request approval. So now I'm going to submit uh, the message to the service bus. So let's see. Now it's going to send the message. Going to call this send message method, and it's preparing. We are doing the serialization. The entire request model. We are creating a string of JSON body. You can see here. So this JSON body only accepted by your, and then we are converting that JSON body into your binary data. And finally, we are preparing the service bus message. And here we are sending it to the service bus. And it's successful. If there is any exception, it's going to the exception. And now let's see. Yeah, the message has been sent to your service bus. Just release this API. Yep, now you can see the message has been submitted to the service bus topic, and this document is exactly same from the Cosmos DB. If you want, you can verify. Exactly, the ID, the name, everything is matching because we are reading the document from the Cosmos. The API is reading document from the Cosmos based on the request ID, and it's sending it to the service bus topic. Let's approve the remaining two requests and see whether the data has been submitted to the service bus topic or not. So it's true. Come here, just refresh. You can see two messages. Yeah, let's do the third. Yes, it's sent the third message. So refresh. Yeah, now you have three messages. So for duplicate, like once you send a message to this service bus, you can change the status to like submitted for approval kind of status, but I'm not going to into the details. So again, you can do the same Cosmos. You can obtain the document and you can upset the document. So that's it in this video. So in this video, we have seen how to submit a request by using API and also approve the request by using API. So which is going to send a message to the service bus. In the next video, we will see the function part. So the function will pick the message from the service bus and it will do the actual work, and then it will upset the Cosmos DB. Thank you one more time for watching my videos. Please share your feedback. I hope you are enjoying the videos and finding some usefulness. So sit tight for next videos. In the coming videos, I'm going to publish more interesting topics, and also suggest the topics if you want to learn specific topics. I'll definitely take that into priority and I'll make the videos. Happy coding.